Today we're going to be covering a little bit about what you maybe should have been doing in the last 10 to 12 weeks since the lockdown, but also a little bit more on what you should be doing to prepare your business for relaunch. So, oh, that's not working now. Oh, there we go. So the agenda for our quick whistle-stop 20-minute tour is a little bit about MODUS. We're a bit different than your normal accountancy firm or group, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. Going through a little bit about what you should have been doing, preparing your business during lockdown for the eventual relaunch, and then the kind of things that we've been doing with our clients and our own businesses over the last few weeks, getting ready to get going again. Because as the restrictions lift, we are entering a new world order, and getting your business in the right place to do that is really important. I like to do lots of Q&As because there might be some burning questions that you have. So I'll try and leave about 2 or 3 minutes towards the end to kind of go through any questions or any things people want to ask. So very quickly, introduction to MODUS. So we're a group of companies. We're not your typical accountancy firm. It was set up about 2.5 years ago, just out of my frustration with the general accountant industry not being as proactive as I needed them to be. So we formed that business to support our existing businesses, and one thing led to another, and the next thing we're looking after 200 odd businesses in a couple of years. So it's growing really quickly. Really pleased with the level of the kind of clients we're getting through, but also the support that we're able to provide our client, because as I said, it was set up from my perspective as an entrepreneur and property investor, needing that kind of level of support. We've got a coaching company within MODUS, so we do a lot of mentoring, both in property and business. So everything I'm going to share with you today is not just stuff that we teach our clients, it's stuff that we're actively doing in our businesses. So it's a very different to kind of purely giving advice to actually living it and giving advice. So we only use stuff and teach stuff that we know works for our clients. MODUS Property, well, this business obviously got hit pretty hard by the lockdown. It was turning over £1 million in March and came to grinding halt. So again, definitely felt the pain of businesses having to stop, but also on the other side, some of our businesses have grown really quickly over the last few weeks. So it's definitely been an interesting few months for us. And then we've got MODUS Investments, which is our developments wing. We've got about £8 million of developments happening around the country, and also some managed fund stuff, which is all exciting. So that's us. It all sounds pretty complicated, but it's ultimately about helping you as a business owner, entrepreneur, property investor, whatever that might be, creating assets. Assets that generate you income. So whether you're starting a business that you want to grow and generate more income, or whether it's you want to get into property, it's all about creating assets that generate income without you having to be too heavily involved. I don't like to use the word passive income because there's no such thing, but at least less time-based income, so you can be free to enjoy whatever it is you're trying to enjoy, whether that's more time or more money, or just having Friday afternoons off. So that's us. That's a little bit different from the normal mixture of companies. So moving swiftly on, guys. So what have you been doing in the last 8 to 10 weeks? So this is some of the stuff that we've done ourselves, but also we've helped our clients go through this, because in the accountancy firm, we've literally helped businesses across every sector, and everyone's had their own slight differences and challenges. So it's just about going through and seeing what were some of the things that worked really well, and some of the things that we'll be doing in the next few weeks as well. So something to point out, if you've not been doing any of this, don't worry, it's not too late. We actually advise our clients to do this at least once a year. Well, it's kind of good practice maybe to do it every quarter if you can, but we also realize as busy business owners, you can sometimes forget. You just get stuck in with running around your business, doing one thing, running after clients, chasing, delivering, meetings, networking. You just don't have time to do these things. So if it is something that you can schedule into your year, maybe a quarter or every 6 months, it is just good practice. But certainly in the last 8 to 10 weeks, it's been a great opportunity, because a lot of people have had quite a bit more time on their hands. So what we've done is it reviewed the entire business and cut away the inefficient parts. So one of our clients that springs to mind, they turn over a few million, their overheads were quite high. We went through all of this back end of March. I think it was the second last week of March. We just went through a complete restructure of the business, looking at who's doing what, the team, the positionings, the marketing team, the sales guys, the manufacturing divisions. We looked at the whole lot, and we saved about £15,000 worth of overheads just in that 1 week, which, as the business is powering up now, not a lot of that's going to come back online. That's about £180,000 that business has been able to save within this lockdown period, just looking at analyzing things that they don't really need. So cut away the inefficient parts and see where things can be improved without cutting back the business too much. Refine the good parts, make them better. So have a look at your teams, look at your systems, look at what things have been going well in the business, because obviously challenging times highlight areas in the business that might need or expose the weaknesses. So it's a good time to have a look and see where those weaknesses are, but also it's going to show you where your strengths are. So that same particular business that springs to mind, they've started up last week and they've had a record week in sales. So that tells me that their strength is sales and marketing. Their weakness was probably cost management. So we've had to strengthen the cost management, but their sales is incredibly strong. And we're looking to develop that a little bit more in the coming weeks. So review your team. Is everyone in the right seat? So one opportunity to have a look and see the whole structure. What we've learned, certainly with our accountancy team, is that they're absolutely fine working from home. So why make everyone commute, an hour a day or whatever it is, to kind of make sure that they're in the office. So make sure everyone's in the right seat. Make sure that in this new era of working, that they might not need to be in the office. They might be able to save travel costs, commuting costs, which ultimately means more money for your team. So you don't have to give them a pay rise this year. No, only kidding. So always good to reward your staff. Hopefully my staff are tuned into that. So yeah, review it. It's really important, especially if the economy doesn't quite rev up as quickly as we think, or if it does rev pretty quick in the next 3 months, it might not rev in Q4. It's just making sure you have the right team in place, the right core team in place that can see the business through whatever the challenges come through. Training, development, restructure, see what you need. Also, a bit like your systems and processes, this is highlighted where training might be needed in the business. So understand what and who needs some training or development, and certainly the ones that stand up and raise their hand and want to kind of lean into the challenges. Those are the ones you want to reward with developing them. Review your clients. This is one of my favorite things to do with clients. And so review all your clients and customers. You've probably heard about ranking them A to D or whatever you use your terms for. But so many times we come across businesses that spend all their time and energy working with C and D grade clients. Now those clients are the ones that always want more, ask lots of questions, and always go beyond what your initial scope of service or the product you were going to deliver was for, and they're never satisfied. On top of that, they never pay on time. Or they're always asking for discounts. So why spend that time with C's and D's when you can spend this time reviewing who you want to work with, who you want to attract to your business, and make sure that you attract more of those? Because we all get those calls when your mobile phone rings and it's that client, and it's like, you can't put a price on the energy that takes from that moment when they call, and you just know it's going to be one of those calls that is probably going to ruin your energy for like an hour or two. And I wish you could put a stat onto it. Small businesses that work with clients, or any business, in fact, that work with clients or customers that they don't like, there must be some quantifiable way of showing the energy drain that causes. It must cost us billions. So don't do it. Just work with A's and B's. Figure out the ones that you like, the ones that pay on time, the ones that think you're fantastic, the ones that refer business to you. So right now, great opportunity, because when we come out of this lockdown, you want to be working with the right people, the right clients. You don't have time to be dealing with people who don't have your best interest at heart. So it's a great exercise to do. So if there's anything you do after this presentation, take 5 minutes, or depending on how big your database is, go through it and make sure you rank them. Come up with a strategy to get rid of the C's and the D's, and how to recruit more A's and B's. Review your competition. Always a good one to be doing. Just seeing what people are doing, seeing what a lot of innovative techniques are coming through the last 12 weeks. We've been forced to think differently about our industries. You've seen all sorts of things happening with people delivering food and taxi firms doing all sorts of crazy things. So lots of innovation happens in these times. I'm sure we all know in 2008-9, all the Netflix and Ubers and all those were born out of those times as well. So the same thing's going to happen now. So keep an eye on what's happening in your industry, how it's evolving, and see if you can implement some of those into your business so you can stay ahead of the times. So as I said earlier, this is the kind of stuff you should have been doing over the last 8 to 10 weeks. But if you haven't, it's absolutely fine. Make sure you do it now. So there's opportunity to kind of get the stuff in place and get your business really lean and ready to launch when all this kind of moves on. So, and the last one, reach out to new existing clients. Big thing that we've seen people have gone quiet and they've not picked the phone to their clients and they've gone, oh, what's going on? Communication is an amazing thing. Just get on the phone, speak to them, explain what's happening. Just stay in communication. For our property businesses up in the north, we've been talking to estate agents because they've been bored at home, just sitting, staring at the wall. Who are the people, who's calling us now when they're back? The estate agents will be called while they're sitting at home staring at the ceiling. Just stay forefront of their mind. So hopefully we'll get some decent deals through our investment firm fairly soon. So stay in comms with clients. Budgets, cash flows and forecasts. Know your numbers. Too often I've worked with businesses that have been in running business for 10, 15, 20 years, and they've never done a cash flow. They've never done a forecast. Take this opportunity now to learn how to do that. It's the most imperative thing. Driving or kind of running a business without knowing your kind of the numbers that make that business tick. It's like driving a car at night without any headlights on. It's so important. So know your numbers, get to know exactly what's happening, what makes your business tick. It's probably one of the biggest things you can kind of learn and teach yourself. There's some really boring books on Amazon. One's called Accounts Demystified on Amazon. Great books, about £9. It'll put you to sleep, but you'll learn about all the financial statements and structure. If you haven't done that with your accountant before, make sure you book an appointment with your accountants and go through this. It's so important. Right, so that's all the things for the last kind of 8 to 12 weeks. So preparing for relaunch. Obviously, there's been lots of doom and gloom, and we're not quite sure what's happening with the economy. I've seen things about property prices going up, property prices going down. We've heard things about dead cat bounces, all sorts of crazy things. We just don't know, is the honest answer. Nobody really does. So all you can do is prepare, and whatever the economy throws at you, it's just being prepared to kind of take it on the chin or ride the wave, or whatever comes our way. So breaking it down, the biggest thing we've been talking to clients about is getting your marketing plan in place. So it's about who you're going to market to. So remember about ranking and rating your clients. You want to attract more A's and B's. So it might be a good opportunity now to have a think about how you can kind of rate your A's and B's and how you can track more of them. So where those clients or customers going to be based? Are you going to go global? Some of our clients are based all over the world, or are you going to go a little bit more local? What are you going to be offering them? Coming through this, 8 to 12 week lockdown period, you might have thought, whilst having some time, some new products, some new innovative ideas, some new services. What are you going to be offering them? Come up with some, innovative ways. So it's a great opportunity now. It's almost like a blank canvas to get this business going again. When you're going to launch these products, or when you're going to, run these promotions, how are you going to get out to them? How are you going to deliver it? So if you are launching a new product or new services, how is that going to be delivered? Face-to-face meetings, events. We used to run lots of MODUS events, lunches at Ensham Hall, and lots of socials and things like that. We can't do that now, at least for the 6 months, I would imagine. So how are you going to, engage, your audience or your client base going forward? And then obviously back to numbers, put a decent budget in place. There's no point in saying, I want to do some marketing. That's great. Well, what's the budget? How much are you going to spend? And then it's about tracking how much each pound of that budget generates in terms of revenue for you. That's something else that business owners just don't do because we get quite busy. So every pound that I'm putting into marketing, how much of that pound am I keeping, or is it coming home to me in profit? Otherwise, it just becomes this big mess of marketing, sales, delivery, cash flow, and what I call the hamster wheel kicks in, and business owners just get really, really busy. So really understand, if I'm going to be investing in marketing, what return am I going to get, and how is that going to stack in terms of taking my life forward? Because ultimately, our businesses that we run, it kind of dictates our personal goals. Because if you want to make more money, to have more travel or more time, you've got to make sure the business is operating correctly and delivering that. So it's really, really important to make sure that how every pound is generating income for you. So your team, get them fired up. So up north, our property team, obviously they've been furloughed since March because we couldn't get onto site and we couldn't get the building going again, but we started to get that going this month. And it was a little bit of a, overcoming inertia to get them going again, because they've been sat at home for, the last 2 or 3 months, getting their salaries, or getting 80% of it anyway. And now they have to come back to work. They have to deal with, tradesmen and, cash flows and forecasts and just all the nitty gritty of tenants and everything else. So it's obviously a lot nicer sitting at home and, having that lovely time with your family, but now it's back to the grindstone. So there is going to be a little bit of inertia that I think a lot of businesses are going to have to overcome in the next few months, especially people going, oh, it's not safe to return to work. Well, yeah, because it's probably nice to be at home. And sometimes there might be a founded reason for them not to return. But just bear in mind, there is going to be this this inertia to overcome in the next few weeks. So get them ready for action, get them motivated, share the plan with the business, share the plan that you have for the business that you want to get them involved with, get them motivated, because without your team, obviously businesses are a little bit more tricky to run because it needs all your time then, and so your team is your biggest asset. So make sure they get fired up, get them up with the plan, and get them ready for action. Your systems, as we spoke about earlier, make sure they are good to go, make sure they're up to date, do some database cleansing, make sure that your accounts system's up to date, the numbers are clean, just make sure everything is ready to go. If there's a new system that you wanted to implement for so long because we haven't had time, that was one of the nice things about the last 12 weeks. Some clients I've been working with for quite some time, their biggest excuse is always time. I didn't have enough time. I took that excuse away because what are you doing now? Oh, you're sitting in your PJ still. Great, I need this done today. So there's no excuse for time at the moment because even now with the relaunch happening or the kind of restrictions lifting, there's still a bit more time out there than what there was probably in February. So prioritize what it is you want to put in place, whether that new big CRM system or that ERP or whatever it is that you're trying to put in. Make sure that it's in place, make sure it's ready to go, tested, so that when you do launch that new marketing to go after those fantastic new clients that you want to launch that new innovative service or product, the systems are there to hold up and keep that business going forward. Because if they're not, and you overmarket the business, you're just going to get busy and stressed again like you were in February. So really, really important to make sure those systems can take on the business that you are wanting it to be. Money, obviously, the reason why we kind of run around crazy, making sure these businesses are operating. Know your numbers. As I said earlier, really get to grips with every aspect of your business. Understand, how many leads you need to generate in order to generate a certain amount of quotes, to generate a certain amount of clients or customers that generates a certain amount of revenue. Know those numbers. It's so important because when you're making decisions about how to spend your bounce back loan or your grants or your precious capital, it's making sure that you deploy that capital in the right place, and knowing where you get your leads or your main income from, it's so important. So get to grips with your with the money and your numbers and really understand that. Great opportunity right now to plan the next kind of 6 to 8 months.